Hello and welcome to the Final Frontiersmen, a YouTube channel about all things Trek. I'm Jeremy, and today we are going to be putting together the phaser from Star Trek Picard Season 3. I really wanted that prop. It really looked cool, in my opinion. And this is going to be one of the larger prints that I've ever done. This thing is a massive 42 files, I want to say, like right at 42. And I'm having a lot of fun putting this guy together, so let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to show you what I needed to put it together. We're going to go from start to finish. It's going to be a fun ride. Let's go. Alright guys, I've got the folder open, and it's probably hard to read this text right here, but I'm just going to show this is 42 separate pieces. This is a massive file. I'm going to open these guys up right here and kind of click through them so you can see the different parts that's going to make up this massive prop here. One thing I do like that the author did is in the file names he did label them as the colors that the parts need to be printed in or painted, right? In my case, I am going to be painting this particular prop, and this is a good example right here. So for example, a green one right here. So it's going to be a clear piece, so it's probably wanting some type of transparent green filament. I'm going to take some liberties with this though, and I'm going to actually be using the LEDs. The author did a really good job of also including a guide for LEDs. So I'm going to be printing this in a clear plastic so the LEDs can shine through. I'm going to be using a green LED behind it. Really looking forward to that. I'm going to load up a file into my Cura program. Let's go ahead and move over to that. I'm not going to load up every single one because that's going to be really boring. But let's go ahead and move on here and see what that process looks like. Okay, so we've got Cura opened up. We've got our files downloaded. The next step is going to be to open up one of these files. Again, I'm not going to show you every single one because that's going to be a lot to go over. But I'm going to load this guy up right here, and here you go. This is kind of an idea of what it looks like inside of Cura before we have used our slice function to put it into a format where the 3D printer will understand it. We're going to do the slice function right here real quick. Just going to slice it real fast. Okay, so I've just finished the file here, and you can see that this particular print is going to take a day, 4 hours, and 11 minutes. That is one full Earth day, guys. So I'm going to take a quick look at the preview. You can see where the supports are going to be there. I'm going to have to pull off after this particular file is done. Well, that's essentially how Cura works. Load the file in, give it a slice. Once you get your settings done, again, dynamic quality, because this is going to be a cosplay piece that I use for myself. I'm going to be printing this at 210 degrees for this particular one, 55 degree on the build plate temperature. Just basic settings. I'm not getting too intricate with it or anything like that. One fun thing I like to see, if this is my first video you've seen of me using a cosplay piece, is how this thing is going to print. I love pulling this little bar down and letting it come back up so you can actually watch the file as it's going to be forming. You can see the supports holding the parts up that need to be held up. And there you have it. That's how it's going to look. So what I'm going to do, we're going to move over to the printer. I'm going to load some files in. We're going to do a massive amount of printing. And then the next video, I'm going to have all the parts laid out on a table for you so you can see them all together. Going to go into some painting. We'll move on from there. Okay guys, so here's everything fully printed and ready to be assembled. I wanted to give you guys a really good view of all 42 pieces that were provided with this particular print. I'm really excited to see all this go together, and I want to show off a few individual parts and kind of give an idea of the time frame. It took me about 2 full weeks to get this completely printed. The larger ones, of course, can take up to about 14 hours. The smaller ones can just be a few minutes, okay? This is everything together, as well as some of the parts that I'm going to be using for the electronics, because this thing does have LEDs, as I mentioned before. I've got the LEDs here. It's going to have some screws. I've got battery casings, magnets, resistors. The author of this particular file did include a really detailed parts list that I appreciated so much, because that way you know you're getting the exact thing that you need. After I've done that, I've got some parts over here I'm going to show you as far as painting and tools that I'm going to be using to assemble this right here. Okay. One thing that I'm not going to do with this that I traditionally do with my props is sanding, because I need to have this particular phaser done within a certain time frame. Sanding can really enhance the look of your piece, just to make sure that it really looks smooth. I'm not going to do that, but I am going to reduce the layer lines by using this guy right here. This is a 2-in-1 primer. So what it is, it's a fillable, sandable primer. This right here will fill in some of those layer lines to make it have a much better, smoother look. So I do recommend getting a 2-in-1. Make sure it's a fillable one right here, right? I'm going to be doing some airbrushing on this. The airbrushing products that I really like to use the paints is Vallejo's Game Air. I really enjoy these because they require little to no thinning with reducers, especially the primary colors. I am going to be using one of their metallic lines, the silver right here, or steel in this particular case. If it's a metallic one, they do tend to require some reducer, so I'm using the 4011 reducer, and I'm going to be using some airbrush flow improver. Using these guys together is really good. I'm not an expert on any of this stuff, so I'd recommend reaching out to maybe another video involving airbrushing to get the mixtures right. I just wing it, in all honesty. I use a pair of side cutters, like modeling side cutters. That helps me remove any of the supports that the prints come off, that need to come off, and all that good stuff. I use a general hobby knife and some pair of pliers to pull that stuff off as well. So yeah, and one other detail that I've seen that I'm going to take some liberties with is part of the files did mention that some of them needed to be a clear red or a clear green. What I'm going to do in that case, because I didn't want to buy multiple rolls of filament, is I printed them in a clear PLA. The clear PLA is really interesting because if there's an LED behind it, it's going to shine through that color. So that's one thing I want to play with, and we're going to see the end results once it's all taken care of. All right, so again, here's everything all grouped together, and what we're going to do is we're going to take it outside and we're going to start the priming process, and let's get this thing assembled. Okay guys, here I'm going to be using glazing and spot putty here by Bondo, along with a sponge. What has happened is some of the prints didn't come out like I wanted them to. The layer lines were really obvious. So I'm going to smooth it out a little bit. I know I said I wasn't going to be doing any sanding, but this right here is just too noticeable. So I'm going to apply this bonding putty here, and when it dries, it hardens. And I am going to take a little sandpaper to it and scrub that off. Use kind of a grit. I'd say I probably start at about a 180, move up to about a 300, and then all the way up to maybe 4, and maybe a 600 after that, until it gets relatively smooth. It doesn't have to be perfect, so just kind of wanted to point this out right here. That's what I'm doing here. Just getting this guy smoothed out, and already I can tell it looks better. So just wanted to point out this part of the process that I do here. Okay, guys, so here we have the finished product, and I am really happy with how this turned out. I like all the colors. I like the choice of paint that I went with. Everything really seems to go really well. One of the complaints that I have is this front little piece right here, which is black. The instructions were not clear. Apparently, this was supposed to be clear for like an LED to shine through because it has all the inner workings, and I haven't glued it down yet. There's even a slot there for where the LED was supposed to clip in and shine through. Let's see if I can get the light to catch it, but shine through that black piece. It's right there. Anyway, that happens. Other than that, everything seems to have turned out really well. The couple of things that were my problems was I could not figure out how to get the trigger to work. So you're supposed to pull the trigger and the LEDs come on. I could not figure out how to get the switch to work, but that's 100% my incompetence when it comes to how circuitry works. I don't really understand how the switch was supposed to work, the one that was recommended for me. So the trigger just, you pull it in and it falls in. It just kind of dangles there. I probably should have put a spring underneath that, but I didn't. Another thing that I want to brag about, though, is the use of the magnets up top right here. So, yeah, you see I've got a couple of magnets in there. The magnets will be in the instructions for the file, which size to get, because I don't remember it right off the top of my head. You can see where I've put the battery casing for AAA batteries. So let's take a look and see what this guy looks like lit up. Okay, so I want to put the batteries there. And this guy, whoops. I'm going to put this guy here. Oh, you see this guy pop on right top. Clip the magnets down, and you already see the red in the front. Got the green on the top. Got the two whites on the side. Very pretty piece right there. I can't brag on this piece enough. I am so happy with how this turned out. I probably should have done a little bit more like sanding or done some sanding, but I felt like I was on a time constraint and I didn't do that with this piece. I would have liked to have painted some black stripes down through here, but I didn't. A little bit more detail work. If I do another one, I definitely know some things that I'm going to do differently for it. But other than that, guys, here it is, the Star Trek Picard Season 3 phaser by Limey Bills, and really happy with how this thing turned out. If you have any questions, please let me know. I'd love to help out best I can. So again, always thanks for watching, and live long and prosper, guys.